We're sitting down with Patrick Van Horn, the founder and CEO of the CP Journal and co-author of Left of Bang, How the Marine Corps Combat Hunter Program Can Save Your Life. So now that you explained that, let's go back to the part about communication. With recent rulings about NYPD's stop, question, and frisk policy and accusations about racial and religious profiling, how does behavioral analysis and the things that you talk about in Left of Bang fit in there?
The ability to communicate what it is that we observed is just as important as the ability to make the observation itself. And behavioral analysis definitely supports this. If we're to observe someone who is uncomfortable, we can take a look at someone and quantify and classify 3 different indicators that we observed that allowed us to classify them as being uncomfortable. By looking at very specific cues and confirming what that assessment is, it allows us to remove a lot of the subjectiveness out of our observations, allows us to focus on just those things that are important to us. We can take something like that uncomfortable person and put them into a larger context. We can look at an area that might be a habitual area, a place with positive atmospherics. As we're scanning that area, we might see a group of guys who is revealing that they're uncomfortable. They might be displaying increased situational awareness and having a private conversation in a public place. Maybe that's what initially draws our attention to them. Then after we approach them, we can stop and we can question the different people, and through that conversation, we can observe changes in their behavior based off of the question, the topic of the question that we're asking. And so not only can we observe behavior, we can start to identify what the cause is, but the initial part of this process is just making objective observations. We observed this behavior and it stood out to us because this was the baseline. And so by being able to do that, we can articulate very clearly what it is that attracted our attention to a person, why we thought that person warranted further questioning, and why we had to ultimately search them as well. And so by going through this process and being able to articulate it and justify our actions, we can make sure that there's no elements of racial or religious profiling integrated into our decision making. Those indicators are meaningless, especially when it comes to trying to anticipate if a person has violent intentions, which is absolutely not the case at all. And as we take a look at this articulation, this ability to communicate what it is we observed, that's necessary for whether you're in the military, a police officer, a security professional, or if you're a teacher and you need to explain why you decided to search a child's backpack, or if you're working in an office building and you decide that there's something different about one of your coworkers today. The ability to communicate why is absolutely important in this pursuit.